Hey, what's up? It is the next morning. I would just like to say I did make a part two, but like towards the end of it, I said something out of pocket, so I just had to delete the whole thing. So I'm just gonna continue down the list. Um, so after that, at like the 9 minute and 55 second mark, I said 30-hour video, like the in reference to the yoga. It's 30 minutes, not 30 hours. And then at the 13 minute and 40 second mark, I was talking about my grandma claiming my fortunes as hers for the conquering so that she can retire. I was talking about Concentrix, not where I work right now, um, or anything recent. Like I worked at Concentrix a while ago, and I was making bank. So, and then also at the 17 minute and 41 second mark, I said, "Did you not take psychology?" She also studied speech therapy as well, which is interesting because you would think one would then be able to speak properly, like, and know that suggestions come with like the beginning of the sentence is the suggestion, not a demand. Like, it's not a command. Like, I don't know. I like was thinking before this. Um, so I have to go to work. I have a really long day. And the Most High gave me enough energy to like get out of bed like at a decent time. Like most days, even if I'm working at like let's say 5 o'clock, I just have no energy. And I actually was able to eat last night. And then we'll talk more about that later. But anyway, yeah. So it's just like I don't know. If you're gonna study these things and you're gonna, you know, do it for the grades so that you can then eventually get a job to make money to sustain your life, and like why would you then turn around and think that you're the exception to the rule? It doesn't really make any sense, but it actually does, because like I've heard that a lot of people um who go to become therapists can sometimes be like, a lot of people do it for, because I'm not going to say most or a majority of, like, in either case, a lot of people go to become therapists because they genuinely want to help people, and they'll push through feelings of being traumatized themselves from those stories to continue to help people, like, and they do a great job of it. And then I've heard that sometimes narcissists become therapists because it's basically finishing school for them. They're just like taking notes on how they can do it better. So the last thing that I had to finish, because like at the end of the video, I think, because like they were both like around like 20 minutes long. So my friend from the States, I do believe I had already been speaking with her like on the phone regularly while we still lived in the States. And so then when I came here, we continued for a little while. But one of the last few conversations that we had, I made it short because by then things were getting so bad that I couldn't even find comfort in her friendship, and that's always caused me some guilt. Um, but like, I'm working through that, and yeah. So basically, we were on the phone, and this I think was like the first time that we'd spoken in a really long time, because like we had lived in New York for like 2 months, like in a motel, and it was like very like it was like very we obviously you can't just like run up the phone bill. I don't know how these things work, because like I was young, whatever, and I don't usually stay in hotels. um And then after New York, we lived in Fort Erie, but like in like what you would think is like a halfway house, but it's like a lot of immigrants will go there before they're established and like, all that other stuff, and they get like a job or government housing and like, that kind of thing. So, um, so yeah, by the time we got to our first apartment, that was like the first time that I was like speaking to her again, and I was like so excited. And I remember we used to talk all the time after that. It was like she was a lovely, lovely person. And you know what's really sad? Her mom and my mom were friends from like childhood, right? I tell you guys about things that my mom did and said to me and even didn't do for me, like, um, but she used to tell me things that are criminal. Criminal. I mean, it's all criminal. I'm not saying that to minimize my own adversities. It's just, ugh. Anyway, so we were speaking on the phone, and then, um, my, we're at kikiing, having a good old funky time, and I was so happy for the first time in a long time. And so my mom was like sitting down on the couch, and she was like reading a book or a magazine, I can't remember which. Um, and then, oh man, it's so weird. Because it was probably a magazine. Because my mom used to like collect magazines. Child. The celebrity obsession was crazy. But I get it. Escapism, blah, 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 blah. But also idol worship. So careful. Um, and she was like, okay, I need you to get off the phone soon. And so like I paused my conversation and I looked at her and I was like, oh, what, like, when do you want me to get off the phone? She didn't lift her head up from the magazine. She pretended not to hear me. So then I reciprocated and pretended that she hadn't spoken, resumed my conversation, a keyed it away until we ended our conversation naturally. And then when I got off the phone, tell me why this lady said, I told you to get off the phone. I was like, you did. And then I asked you when you want me to get off the phone, and you pretended that you didn't hear me. Silence. Like, why even bother playing games? This is what confuses me about parents like this. You play in your children's faces, you provoke them to anger, you put them in harm's way in more ways than one. You don't pour love, compassion, joy, honor, especially honor. None of these very, very doable things. You just have to put exercise into it. Like you have to practice it, I mean. At any given chance. You don't reinforce your parenting with the very beliefs and values that you used to guilt and like shame your children into. If you do this, you're gonna be punished by, and but like you don't do any of those things. And then when your children show you that they don't respect you or that they simply can't, because how can you give something that you don't have? You also have to respect a child's boundaries. You also have to respect a child's life. You have to respect their laughter. They're playing, they're running around, blah, blah, blah. As long as they're not destroying the house, why are you mad at a child for being a child? And then y'all are surprised. You're surprised when they just don't want to have anything to do with you. It's weird. It's the strangest thing. You reap what you sow is not a suggestion, and you will never be an exception to the rule. And I'm not sorry to deliver that news. So that's that on that. And you know what? I'll speak about the food thing like after work, because right now I just like this is like good. It's really good. Like I actually enjoy the healing journey. It's just that it can be so much sometimes. Like it can be just so much. But my stomach feels fine. Hopefully I get to see Jay next week. I know, like, you guys. No, I'm not using him as a distraction. He's actually like, he's very, oh my goodness, that burp snuck up on me. He's very, very sweet. And yeah, so I think I'm just gonna write a little bit and then change and then go to work, come back home, and then maybe I'll share, because like I have these stories from like what happened like recently, and it was all very, very upsetting. So okay, yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, because you know what, I'm very, very happy that my father instructed me to delete that video, because this is like better. I'm more calm. Like, there's no reason to get worked up over people who purposefully do things to literally get a reaction out of you. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.